Senate will come to order. Senators will be in their seats. Clerk will call the roll.
Alley. Argabright. Billinger. Blasey. Blue. Bowers. Bowser. Clays from Saline. Clays from Sedgwick. Clifford. Corson. Dietrich. Erickson. Fagg. Fascudo. Francisco. Gossage. Haley. Holscher. Klemp. Cluse. Masterson. Murphy. Owens. Peck. Peterson. Petty. Rose. Reichman. Schmidt. Schallenberger. Shane. Starnes. Sykes. Thomas. Thompson. Titus. Tyson. Ware. Warren.
Senators and guests, please rise and give prayerful attention to our guest chaplain, Doug Hinkle.
Let us pray. Father God, thank you for bringing Chaplain Washington back to us yesterday. Thank you for the blessing it was to have him here. Lord, apparently the outing was a little too much for his body. I pray that you would ease the pain he is experiencing today and bring him back to us in your perfect timing. In your word, you instruct us to fix our thoughts on what is true and honorable, right and pure and lovely and admirable. You admonish us to think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Father, cause us to fix our attention on things that are not unreal, far-fetched dreams, but things that are true, not cheap, flippant, superficial things, but things that are honorable. Not things that are wrong and unjust, but that which is right. Not things that promote arguments and defense in others, but those that are agreeable. Not slander, gossip, and put-downs, but information of good report, the kind that builds up and causes grace to flow. May we consider what our thoughts are fixed on today. Father, you care about all the details of our lives, including the issues before this legislative body this afternoon. You care about every word spoken. Cause this body to strive for resolution where there's conflict, to know when to give way and when to hold the line, to listen twice as much as they speak, and may they listen well. I pray for your peace today, which is far beyond our understanding. I ask that you give each senator wisdom as they argue their positions. I lift up President Masterson, Vice President Schallenberger, Majority Leader Blasey, and Minority Leader Sykes to you. Give them your direction as they lead this chamber. I pray that at the end of the day, the deliberations in this chamber would lead to sound decisions that would honor you, blessing all Kansans. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On a point of personal privilege, Chair recognizes the Senator from Cowley, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're here today to honor the Cowley County National Volleyball Team. They are the national champions. But not only are they national champions, they are back-to-back national champions. In recent years, Cowley College has won the volleyball national championship 4 times. Mr. President, I probably need your help here. Would you be able to hold up one finger, your index finger, like this? Thank you, Mr. President, because in the last 11 years, no, not 11 years, the last 11, The Cali County has won 11 national championships on the diamond and also on the court, but 4 of those were right here. These young ladies have won 4 national championships. So, Mr. President, if I could get the body to give them a Cali County roar for national championship. Thank you very much. I also would like to acknowledge their coach, Stephen Green, and Lana Milner. So thank you very much, ladies.
Welcome to the Kansas Senate. That's very impressive. Congratulations. While we have several special guests today while we're shifting some in, some out. I have a point of personal privilege from the Senator from Sedgwick, Senator Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my pleasure to welcome students and staff from the Kansas College of Osteopathic Medical School in Wichita, the first and only osteopathic school in Kansas. They are here with us today in the East Gallery. I would ask them to stand, but I think you can probably identify them. But we will go ahead and ask them to stand, and please give them a warm Senate welcome.
I think we're standing Senator from Shawnee, Senator Dietrich. Are we waiting on yours to? All right. Point of personal privilege, Chair recognizes the Senator from Shawnee, Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today it's my honor to recognize the candidates for the Kansas Youth of the Year for the Boys and Girls Clubs and the Military Youth of the Year for Kansas Boys and Girls Clubs on military bases. In our VIP gallery over here, we have the finalists for the Youth of the Year program. This was established by the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, recognizing outstanding young individuals who exemplify strong character, academic achievement, and commitment to community service. So the Youth of the Year candidates have demonstrated exceptional leadership, dedication, and perseverance, serving as role models for their peers and embodying the values of respect, responsibility, and service. So I'm going to announce the 6 individuals, youth we have sitting over here in our VIP gallery. We have a tribute for them and a proclamation for their sponsor today, who I will also introduce. So some of you in the Senate chamber here may not know that you have a student here today. So when I announce you, will you stand up and wave to everybody, and we'll save our applause to the end. Annabella Gipp, Lawrence Free State High School. Graciela Mendina, Hutchinson High School. Hannah Mendocina de Rajo, Manhattan High School. Valerie Vasquez Santos, Topeka West High School. Abby Thompson, Derby High School, Kansas Military Youth of the Year. Kai Wilson, Wichita Heights High School, Kansas Youth of the Year, with their Executive Director, Joyce Glasscock. Please join me in a round of applause for these fine young people.
I believe we need another moment of stand at ease to shift some people in and out. It looks like you've got a crew, Senator. Final point of privilege, Senator from Riley, Senator Starnes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I have the pleasure of recognizing the Manhattan High School back-to-back 6A Kansas State High School Activities Association Boys Wrestling State Championship team who was just named also the 6A Wrestling State Academic Champions as well. As I stated earlier in other tributes, in Manhattan, all we do is win.
Oh, wow.
So, as I introduce you, members, please stand up. Landon Dotson, 2-time state placer. Logan Lagerman, 4-time state placer. Ben 2-time state placer. Those are the seniors, juniors. Caleb Hutchison, 3-time state champion. Cameron Coonrod, 3-time state placer. Joe Panfil, state qualifier. Brecken Christ Funk, state placer. Garrison Hickender, state qualifier. And sophomores, Max Evans Pryor, who's not in attendance. And then freshman, Jack Hutchison, a state placer. Frankie Force, a state placer. Liam Nider, a state qualifier. Their coaches are head coach Sean Bamas, Danny Grader, Dayton Christ, Chad Wolf, Ethan Sharp. I ask you to join me in recognizing and applauding the Manhattan High School back-to-back 6A Kansas State High School Association Boys Wrestling and Academic State Championship team.
All right, congratulations, gentlemen. Welcome to the Senate. We do have a few pages today. Did you need something, Senator from Pottawatomie? Did you have a point as well? Didn't have you on my list, but point of personal privilege, Senator from Pottawatomie, Senator Tyson. Were you standing for a resolution or a different point? Yeah, I have you in my script. So, thanks to the secretary for the catch. We'll get you there. We do have some pages today, so I'm going to take my own privilege first and introduce you to my pages. So if they will stand there in front of us, Stella Brittingham. Please stand. Then we got Azzy Roffelson, Wyatt Wagner, and Riley Riberty. Welcome them. Senator from Lyon, Senator Argabright.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor to recognize pages from Geary County, Junction City High School, sophomores and juniors. Would you stand, please? Kiara, Jamarcus, Ayana, Presley. Welcome to the Senate. Thanks for your help.
Senator from Jackson, Senator Bowser.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two pages with me here today. They're back over here in the corner working hard. They are from Troy High School in Troy, Kansas. Anna Marie Root and Jack Keller, and they both made it to the top of the dome today. Welcome to the Senate.
Senator from Saline, Senator Clays.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two shadows today. Both are from my alma mater, Sacred Heart High School in Salina, Abram Anderson and Doyle Schmidt. They're at the back wall.
All right, welcome to the Kansas Senate. Thank you for helping us out today. All right, please note references of bills on page 1 and 2 of the calendar. Messages from the House, clerk will read.
The House accedes to the request of the Senate for a conference on Senate Bill 14 as an appointed Representatives Waymaster, Williams K., and Ballard as conferees on the part of the House. The House accedes to the request of the Senate for a conference on Senate Bill 105 and has appointed Representatives Proctor, Wagoner, and Haskins as conferees on the part of the House. Announcing passage of House Bill 2217, passage of Senate Bill 2, 88, and 175, announcing passage of Senate Bill 82 as amended, substitute for Senate Bill 193 as amended, announcing passage of Senate Bill 126 as amended by House substitute for Senate Bill 126, and House Bill 2217, an act concerning the Attorney General.
Introduction of original motions and Senate resolutions, clerk will read.
Senate Resolution number 1714 by Senators Titus, Alley, and others. A resolution recognizing the members of Kansas Task Force 1 for their outstanding efforts as responders during Hurricanes Helene and Milton.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Pottawatomie, Senator Titus.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am honored to have with me today the Kansas Task Force 1 in the East Gallery. They bravely served the state in their deployment in Florida and North Carolina to assist in the recovery efforts after Hurricane Helene, sacrificing time with family and safety. And we prepared a resolution. I would ask the clerk to read.
Whereas, during the fall of 2024, the southeastern states of the United States were pummeled by back-to-back hurricanes Helene and Milton. And whereas the Kansas Task Force 1 was deployed to Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina to help with hurricane relief efforts. And whereas the members of Kansas Task Force 1 helped local teams with search and rescues, set up mobile hospitals, provided basic life support medical care, transported humans and animals to the nearest location for secondary air or land transport, and assisted with relief efforts. And whereas members of Kansas Task Force 1 conducted rescue operations in areas under extreme difficulty and grim conditions. And whereas the 36 responders deployed represent 22 agencies across Kansas, including the Chanute Fire Department, the Cherryvale Fire Department, the Derby Fire Department, the Johnson County Med Act, Junction City Fire Department, the Manhattan Fire Department, Neodesha Fire Department, Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center, the Olathe Fire Department, the Salina Fire Department, Sedgwick County Fire Department, the Shawnee Fire Department, the Wichita Fire Department, and the Office of the State Fire Marshal. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the State of Kansas that we recognize the members of the Kansas Task Force 1 for their outstanding efforts as responders during Hurricane Helene and Milton.
Senator Potawatomi.
Thank you, Mr. President. If the members of the task force would please stand and if the Senate would please recognize their service. Mr. President, I move an emergency to be declared, the rules suspended, and Senate Resolution 1714 be adopted by voice vote.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion's adopted. Thank you all for your service, and not just us, but the rest of the country. This time I'm withdrawing Senate Bill 39 from the Committee on Financial Institutions and referring it to the Committee on Assessment and Taxation. Withdrawing Senate Bill 229 from the Committee on Ways and Means and re-referring to the Committee on Commerce. We're now ready for final action. On this roll call, we will take the following. The consent calendar bills, HB 2092, HB 2117, HB 2166, and HB 2027, HB 2029, 2062, 2124, 2155, and 2347. The clerk will read the titles.
House Bill 2092, an act concerning labor and employment. House Bill 2117, an act concerning business entities. House Bill 2166, an act concerning the Open Records Act. House Bill 2027, an act concerning public assistance. House Bill 2029, an act concerning roads and highways. House Bill 2062, an act concerning children and families. House Bill 2124, an act concerning roads and highways. House Bill 2155, an act concerning sheriffs. And House Bill 2347, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure.
Clerk will call the roll.
Alley. Argabright. Billinger. Blasey. Blue. Bowers. Bowser. Clays from Saline. Clays from Sedgwick. Clifford. Corson. Dietrich. Erickson. Fag. Fascudo.
No on House Bill 2155. No on House Bill 2027. No on House Bill 2062. Aye on the remainder.
Francisco. Gossage. Haley. Olsher, Klemp, Cluse, Masterson, Murphy, Owens, Heck, Peterson, Petty, Rose, Reichman, Schmidt, Schallenberger, Shane, Starnes, Sykes, Thomas, Thompson, Titus, Tyson, Ware, Warren.
Has every senator had an opportunity to vote? I will note that we know Senator from Finney is in the building. He's testifying on the House side. He's been alerted, and we will hold the roll for him. So I will continue with explanation of vote until he comes. So for explanation of vote or changes, Senator Shawnee, Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've had a lot of really passionate people reaching out to me in the last 24 hours, so I'd like to take this opportunity to speak about what I did, what I said yesterday about House Bill 2062. Make no mistake, House Bill 2062 is a bad bill. I have spoken out against the attack on women's rights as long as I've been running for office. I have the most pro-choice voting record of any member of the Senate this session. 39 members of this body voted for the restrictions on healthcare providers, restricting them from performing abortions in the nurse anesthetist bill that we had a few weeks ago. I was the lone no vote because I think those restrictions are unconstitutional, and I will not support them, and I will never support them. And as some of you may have known, I'm an avid campaigner, and I look forward to using this and communicating about this come campaign time. But also, like many of you, I've got a lot of people in Central Topeka. I've got a lot of people in East Topeka. I got a lot of people in Shawnee County that are really going to be better off with a tax exemption for $2,320 because they're trying to start a family. And if it comes down to having a bad bill that's going to pass that I do not support, but I can make lemonade out of lemons and help people trying to start a family that I think all of us in some way want to do here in this body, I'm going to swing at that pitch every day and twice on Sunday. And I will work with anybody that will help me do it. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate the people that are speaking out to me. And please know, I am the most pro-choice legislator in this body, but I will also always speak out for the people that need it most, the people that are struggling, and the people that are trying to start a family in Kansas. Thank you, Mr. President.
That was pretty good. A reminder, 2 minutes on an explanation of vote. That was 2 minutes and 10 seconds, so gave him a little bit of leeway. Further explanation, Senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to explain my vote on HB 2062.
Please continue.
I vote no on HB 2062. While presented as a child support bill, its true intent is far more insidious, establishing fetal personhood in law. This bill grants legal recognition to a fetus as a separate person, even providing a state tax ID number, which would have sweeping consequences beyond financial support. This bill is not about helping women. Instead, it lays the groundwork for future attacks on reproductive rights. Similar laws in other states are used to restrict abortion access, criminalize pregnancy outcomes, and create legal confusion around medical care. Kansans overwhelmingly voted in 2022 to protect abortion rights, yet this bill disregards that mandate by pushing a backdoor strategy to undermine those rights. If a fetus is considered a legal person for financial matters, like taxes, what stops the next step, using that recognition to restrict reproductive health care or even prosecute pregnancy losses? This bill opens the door to unintended consequences that would put women at legal risk. Real support for pregnancies doesn't come from political maneuvers. If we truly cared about supporting families, we would put our money where our mouth is and pass a comprehensive child tax credit for all children birthed to age 18.
Senator from Finney, you care to cast your vote? Senator from Finney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would you indulge me with a vote count?
On anyone in particular? Here's what I'm going to do. I'll continue with explanation while you do your review, and then I'll come back to you for your vote.
Thank you, Mr.
Correct with Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer explanation of vote on HB 2155.
Please continue.
I vote no on HB 2155. As a legislator who has fought for the rights of survivors of sexual assault, this bill has several red flags that are extremely concerning. As detailed by the KTLA, limiting sheriff liability only to the, quote, official acts of their deputies and jailers allows for a significant reduction of accountability in cases of deputy misconduct inside our Kansas jails. One has to ask, if the sheriff is not liable for his deputies' actions in the jail, then who is? There are two consolidated federal lawsuits on this issue that originate from Sedgwick County. Those cases involve a Sedgwick County deputy who was accused of sexually assaulting female inmates. This deputy had a history of misconduct, yet was still hired by the sheriff's office. If HB 2155 were in place, Sedgwick County could argue that the deputy's actions were, quote, unofficial, making it more difficult for victims to seek justice. And very importantly, please note the one proponent for this bill comes to us via Sedgwick County. I urge the body to vote no.
Senator from Finney.
Thank you, Mr. President, for indulging my stalling maneuver. I vote aye.
So ordered. Senator from Wyandotte, Senator Petty.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to join the comments of the Senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes, on 2062.
So ordered. Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to join the remarks from the Senator from Johnson on House Bill 2062.
So ordered. Any further changes? Any further explanations? Seeing none, clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. "31 having voted in favor and 8 opposed to House Bill 2027, 37 in favor, 2 opposed to 2029, 30 in favor and 9 opposed to 2062, 39 in favor and none opposed to 2092, 2124, 2117, 2166, 2347, 30 opposed, and 34 and 9 opposed to 2155. These measures, having received their constitutional majority, are hereby declared passed. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Sedgwick, Senator Blasey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of bills on the calendar under the heading of General Orders.
For the motion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair appoints the Senator from Montgomery, Senator Peck, to preside over the Committee of the Whole.
The Senate, having resolved itself to the Committee of the Whole, will now consider those items listed on the calendar under the heading of General Orders. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2106. The Chair recognizes Senator from Barton, Senator Blue, to explain the bill and adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There were committee amendments. I move the adoption of the committee report.
You have heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion appears to fail. Motion does fail. So committee, we are now on the bill as it came over from the House. So the Committee of the Whole is now considering House Bill 2106 as amended by the House. Senator from Barton, you may explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 2106, simply put, is a bill that prohibits foreign money coming in to affect the any constitutional amendment proposed as a opponent or a proponent of it, and it just allows the Attorney General to prosecute if this were to happen. Simply put, I'll stand for questions.
Are there questions of the Senator from Barton? Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just need to do a little bit of catch up because I believe there were some changes made, and I was on Fed and State last year, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding what all is going on here. Is there still language in the bill that says that there should not be any indirect contributions from a foreign national?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you could let me pull up the bill and look up. Senator, I have a question for the senator who asked the question. Have you had a chance to look over the bill, or is there a certain area that you're curious about?
I think it's line...
Senator from Johnson.
Sorry, I was eager to help. I believe it's line 22, and I wasn't sure if that had been changed or not on page 2.
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am looking at line 22 on page 2, subsection D, and you are correct. It says no person shall accept directly or indirectly any contribution or expenditure from a foreign national.
Senator from Johnson.
Yes. Can you please tell me what it means to indirectly receive a contribution from a foreign national?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wish I had an answer for that, but I do not have an answer for that right now.
Senator from Johnson.
Okay. Thank you. Next question is, does this bill mean that a Kansas-based nonprofit organization cannot receive in-kind contributions?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we could stand at ease real quick, we are waiting for the reviser to come up here so I can answer these questions properly.
The Senate will stand at ease while we wait on the reviser. While we are waiting on staff to reach the Senate floor, are there other questions or discussion on the bill? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and continue to wait.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Could we pass over this bill and come back to it? So we don't have to prolong.
I appreciate that suggestion. The Senate will temporarily pass over House Bill 2106. I will now draw your attention to Senate Bill 213. The Senate will temporarily pass over Senate Bill 213. I will now draw your attention to Senate substitute for House Bill 2145. Senate substitute for House Bill 2145. For the purpose of carrying the bill, the chair recognizes Senator from Meade, Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Substitutes for House Bill 2145 would amend regarding County Fair Association to establish membership of the Butler County Fair Board. Then we went ahead and the House added on Cloud County Fair Board, and so both of them are in the bill. The reason we have to do this is because we have continuing law establishes County Fair Board for the directors and membership requirements and everything else. The bill will establish Butler County Fair Board consisting of 15 members, okay? And then they rotate when they expire and all that kind of stuff. And the Cloud Fair Board will be 12 members on there. Now, so really this bill, we should have just put it on a consent calendar. It passed the House 118-1, and we didn't think about that. The County Fair Board membership was as many as 35. It has the largest township in Kansas, and it was just hard to get people to fill it. So anyway, we're just trying to help these two fair boards out, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Are there questions for the Senator from Meade? Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a question, but I do stand in support. Some years ago, the Senate Agriculture Committee looked at the rules that affect our county fairs. We still need some cleanup, but this is a good first step.
Additional questions, comments on Senate substitute for House Bill 2145? The chair recognizes the Senator from Butler, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in support of this bill. I've been around this enough. They've been talking about this for a while, but you get 29 people, they have trouble getting enough people to say yes to that. And the more people you have, the harder it is to make good decisions. And so this is something that they've been after, and just want to stand in support. Thank you.
Body, I will remind you that it is our practice to address the chair and face the chair when you are speaking. Additional questions, comments on substitute for House Bill 2145? Senator from Cloud, Senator Bowers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to tell the body that's the Vice Chair of Local Government carrying this bill. He did a nice job. And the committee truly appreciated Butler County coming to us with a solution for their problem, already worked out of what they needed. So they made our job much easier. And Senator Reichman is correct. We should have put this on the consent calendar, but thank you for indulging us to talk about Cloud County and Butler County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Additional questions, comments on Senate substitute for House Bill 2145? Seeing none, Senator from Meade, you may close.
I move that when the committee rises and reports substitutes HB 2145, favorable for passage.
You have heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2042. For the purpose of carrying the bill and adopting the committee report, the chair recognizes the senator from Shawnee, Senator Diedrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Senator, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 2042 is related to title insurance agents and their audit reports and standardizing the amount of the surety bond required to be filed with the commissioner. There are approximately 2,000 title agents in Kansas. This bill just simplifies and removes the requirement that the annual audit that's conducted by a CPA be given to the commissioner within 30 days of the close of the calendar year. The bill also simplifies the surety bond requirement tiers for title agents that handle escrow, settlement, or closing costs. This bill condenses those tiers into a single $100,000 surety bond requirement, which is very beneficial for title agents who work across multiple counties and for the insurance department staff. The bill also eliminates the controlled business exemption for counties with a population of 10,000 or less. Kansas is the last state that has this type of population-based exemption. The proponents were the Kansas Department of Insurance and the Kansas Land Title Association. There were no opponents, there were no neutrals. The amendments, the House Committee on Insurance amended the bill to make the effective date January 1, 2026. The Senate Committee amended the bill to be effective upon publication in the Kansas Register. There's no fiscal impact to the state or the Department of Insurance. The bill passed the House 103-7. We passed a mirror bill, Senate Bill 22, 40-0. So, Mr. Chair, I will stand for questions.
Are there questions for the senator from Shawnee? Seeing none, Senator, you may close on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that when the committee rises and report, it report House Bill 2042 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion appears to pass. Motion does pass. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2043 for the purpose of carrying the bill and adopting the committee report. The chair recognizes the senator from Shawnee, Senator Diedrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Senator, you may explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 2043 is primarily a consumer advocacy bill. As introduced, it would require agents and insurers to respond to a complaint or an inquiry of the commissioner that's related to a particular matter within 14 calendar days. It also would require an insurer to respond to an inquiry to the list of actions that could lead to the commissioner to deny, suspend, revoke, or refuse a new license within 15 business days. This legislation will allow the department to do a better job responding to the consumer complaints that they receive. In addition, House Bill 2043 allows extensions for companies and agents who participate in that value-added product of service pilot programs. The current maximum length for a pilot program is 1 year. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than 1 year to obtain evidence that those value-added services or products really do mitigate loss or reduce claim costs. This bill allows an extension beyond that 1 year period at the discretion of the department. The only proponent was the Kansas Department of Insurance. There were no opponents, no neutrals. I apologize for that. There was one neutral. Written-only neutral testimony was provided by a representative of the Kansas Association of Property and Casualty Insurance Companies. It was amended in committee. The House Committee amended the bill to change the time period for a response to the department, regardless of the reason, to be 14 calendar days. Our Senate Committee amended the bill back to the better way, the way we sent it to them, which returns the response to an inquiry from the commissioner related to those licensing issues to within 15 business days. So it gives you a little bit longer to respond, especially if your license is in jeopardy. A consumer complaint will still be responded to within 14 calendar days, which both the House and the Senate agreed with. There's no fiscal impact to anyone. It's just a policy change. The bill passed the House 97-14, and this bill also mirrors Senate Bill 23, which we passed 40-0. Mr. Chair, I'll stand for questions.
Are there questions on House Bill 2043 for the senator from Shawnee? Seeing none, Senator, you may close on the bill.
Thank you. I move that when the committee rises and report House Bill 2043 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2045. For the purpose of explaining the bill and adopting the committee report, the chair recognizes the senator from Shawnee, Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we adopt the committee report.
You have heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Senator, you may explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 2045 is a Department of Insurance bill. It grants the Insurance Commissioner the ability to decrease the number of board members serving on boards for which the Commissioner has appointing authority. The bill would reduce the size of 3 boards: Kansas Automobile Assigned Claims Plan and Automobile Insurance Board of Governors, reduced from 9 to 5. Kansas Workers' Compensation Insurance Governing Board, reduced from 9 to 7. Kansas Healthcare Provider Insurance Availability Plan Board of Directors, reduced from 9 to 5. The bill allows current members of those boards to serve out the remainder of 2025 before reappointment for a 3 or 4 year term or removal from their board. The bill also adds language that will allow the Commissioner the ability to remove appointed board members for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. This just brings the statutes in line with industry standards and protects the board and the departments from behavior that deviates from their mission. Lastly, the bill changes the meeting requirements for the Committee on Surety Bonds and Insurance. Currently, the committee is required to meet monthly, but this bill removes that requirement so that it's on call of the chair, mostly because the board didn't have business to conduct on a monthly basis. Proponents was the only proponent was the Kansas Insurance Department. There were no opponents, there were no neutrals, there's no fiscal impact to the Department of Insurance or to the state. The House made no amendments and placed the bill on the consent calendar. It passed the House 104 to 10. This same bill is our Senate Bill 20, and we passed it 40 to 0 on February 19th. Mr. Chair, I would stand for questions.
Are there questions on House Bill 2045 for the senator from Shawnee? Seeing none, Senator, you may close on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm feeling a little boring, but I move that when the committee rises and report House Bill 2045 favorably for passage.
This has been exciting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will now return to House Bill 2106. Senator from Johnson, you were asking a question, and Senator from Barton, you were answering, and I don't remember where we were in this ping pong match, but we will turn to the senator from Johnson if you wish to ask a question, or she may have answers for you, but the floor is yours.
Okay, and I will rephrase, thank you, Mr. Chair. I will rephrase my question for those who may not remember, since it's been a few minutes. So I'm trying to get to determine the impact on Kansas-based nonprofits. So for example, if you have a Kansas-based nonprofit that receives an in-kind contribution from another government, let's say from Guatemala, they receive an in-kind contribution of space to run a medical relief program in Guatemala. Would that Kansas-based nonprofit be able to advocate for or against constitutional amendments, even if all the monetary contributions came from the Kansas citizens?
Senator from Barton, Senator Blue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If the nonprofit is actively engaged in the constitutional amendment, then they would have to, the reporting requirements that we currently have already, they'd have to report that they received foreign money to the Secretary of State to ethics, and then that would be a violation.
Senator from Johnson.
Thank you for that. Let's go a step further then. So does Section B mean any organization wanting to advocate on a constitutional amendment can't accept a contribution until they first get a written certification from the would-be contributor?
Senator from Barton.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat that? I was having a side conversation.
Senator from Johnson, could you repeat your question, please?
Certainly, thank you. Section B, does that mean any organization wanting to advocate on a constitutional amendment cannot accept contributions from anyone until they first get written certification from the would-be contributor?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If that's how they want to do it, then yeah.
Senator from Johnson.
I guess that brings forward the question then, are there other formats of getting that information that are allowed?
Senator from Barton.
I guess I'm trying to understand, Mr. Chair, what exactly the senator from Johnson is trying to get at.
Senator from Johnson.
Well, my question is, what is that verification process then? If a written certification is allowable, does that mean there are other things that are allowable?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It just makes sense to have the certification before they receive it done beforehand. So again, with the senator, I'm trying to understand what exactly you're trying to get to and what exactly point you're trying to make.
Senator from Johnson.
Yes, if you look at section, what is that, B, line 4, it just says that shall be required for each donor to certify.
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I don't know how else to be more clear. It just has to be certified.
Senator from Johnson.
Thank you, and I think that proves my point. It's somewhat vague there as terms of what certification means. So I'm going to move on and kind of look at the flip side in terms of this bill and the implications. So let's say the Catholic Church is an organization controlled by a foreign government, Vatican City, and led by a foreign national. Would this ban the Catholic Church and its various nonprofits from being able to advocate for or against constitutional amendments?
Senator from Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'd have to go back to the question in general is where did they receive the money from? Did they receive, are they actively being involved in a campaign? And then are they receiving it from the parishioners? Who are they receiving the money from? Is it coming from the Vatican? Who are you trying to get to the point on this?
Senator from Johnson.
Thank you. Again, there's some language in here that is concerning because, again, the Catholic Church, for instance, is an organization controlled by a foreign government and led by a foreign national. So I don't think we have clarity here in terms of this would ban various nonprofits like them from being able to advocate for or against a constitutional amendment. So that's it. Thank you.
Additional questions for the Senator from Barton on House Bill 2106? Seeing none, Senator, you may close on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to state thank you to the body for working with me on this, for us going out of order and allowing me to step in to carry this bill. And I move that we pass out House Bill 2106 favorably for passage.
You have heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion appears to pass. Motion does pass.
Colleagues, we will now turn our attention to Senate Bill 213. And I will recognize the senator from Montgomery, Senator Peck, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Senate Bill 213 is an exciting bill. It deals with firearms, it deals with waterfowl, it deals with out-of-state hunters, and deals with fees. So nothing more exciting for the day than what we are getting ready to embark upon. The bill is fairly self-explanatory in the fact that the bill limits non-resident waterfowl hunters to hunting on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but this restriction only applies to department lands and waters, federal lands and waters owned by the United States and administered by, for example, the Secretary of the Army, the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Private lands, and you will see this on page 2, lines 34 through 39, do not apply. Property enrolled and designated as walk-in hunting does not apply. Navigable rivers in Kansas do not apply. So that is the main provision. However, there were also a couple other changes by the committee, and the change is that a migratory waterfowl habitat stamp for residents will now be $20, a maximum of $20, and non-residents will be a maximum of $100. Madam Chairman, with that, I'll be happy to stand for questions.
Thank you. Are there questions for the Senator from Montgomery on Senate Bill 213? Senator, seeing none, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. That's rather disappointing. I was hoping to have a lot of questions asked of me, but it didn't happen, and sometimes we have disappointing days here in the Kansas Senate. I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, but I move that when the committee rises and report Senate Bill 213 favorable for passage.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. The chair recognizes the majority leader from Sedgwick, Senator Blasey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carried.
Clerk will read the committee report.
On motion of Senator Blasey, the Senate resolved itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of bills on the calendar under the heading of General Orders with Senator Peck and Senator Dietrich serving as the chair. Recommended House Bills 2042, 2043, and 2045 be amended by the adoption of the committee reports and the bills be passed as amended. House Bill 2106, Senate Bill 213, and substitute for House Bill 2145 be passed.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery, Senator Peck, for adoption of the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move adoption of the committee report.
For the motion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Report's adopted. Referring back to the order of business, introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions, clerk will read.
Senate Bill number 296 by the Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning the Department of Revenue. And Senate Bill number 297 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning employment.
This time, I'm withdrawing House Bill 2113 from the Committee of Agriculture and Natural Resources, referring to the Ways and Means. Consideration of motions to concur, non-concur. Chair recognizes Senator from Sedgwick, Senator Erickson, on Senate Bill 45.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate non-concur and House amendments to Senate Bill 45 and request a conference committee be appointed.
For the motion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair appoints as conferees on part of the Senate. Senator from Sedgwick, Senator Erickson, Senator from Johnson, Senator Thompson, Senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes. On SB 82, Chair recognizes. Oh, apologize. That was Thomas. Yeah. Where's it? It was Thomas instead of Thompson. Chair recognizes the Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage, on SB 82.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate non-concur and House amendments to Senate Bill 82 and request a conference committee be appointed.
Heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Chair appoints as conferees on part of the Senate, Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage, Senator from Finney, Senator Clifford, Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher. On SB 126, Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate non-concur and House amendments to Senate Bill 126 and request a conference committee be appointed.
Heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair appoints as conferees on part of the Senate, Senator from Johnson, Senator from Senator Gossage, Senator from Finney, Senator Clifford, Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher. On Senate Bill 193, Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage.
I move the Senate non-concur in House amendments to Senate Bill 193 and request a conference committee be appointed.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Chair appoints conferees on part of the Senate, Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage, Senator from Finney, Senator Clifford, Senator from Johnson, Senator Holscher. We will turn back to order of reports of standing committees. Clerk will read.
Mr. President, your Committee on Federal and State Affairs begs leave to submit the following report. The following appointment was referred to and considered by the committee, and your committee recommends that the Senate approve and consent to such appointment. Brigadier General of the Kansas National Guard, Michael McCoy. Mr. President, the Committee on Judiciary recommends House Bill 2359 be passed. Mr. President, the Committee on Transportation recommends House Bill 2121 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Mr. President, the Committee on Judiciary recommends House Bill 2312 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Mr. President, the Committee on Education recommends House Bill 2185 be passed. Mr. President, the Committee on Education recommends House Bill 2033 be passed. Mr. President, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources recommends Senate Bill 211 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Mr. President, the Committee on Education recommends substitute for House Bill 2102 be passed. Mr. President, the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance recommends House Bill 2050 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. Mr. President, the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance recommends House Bill 2087 be amended and the bill be passed as amended.
Before we adjourn, are there announcements? I actually have one myself. The Conference Committee on Senate Bill 105 will meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow in room to be determined. Further announcements. Senator from Cloud, Senator Bowers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have an announcement for new legislators. So we have new legislator training tomorrow morning, March 13th, 7:30 a.m. in room 144 South. And I am the Senate coordinator for NCSL. And this presentation will be put on by NCSL. And the presenter is Kirk Stedrum, and he's a training director. And the title of the training tomorrow is The Art of Legislative Negotiation. And just so you know, the House members are invited as well as new members. Their coordinator is Representative Adam Smith. And this will be in conjunction with Senator Tyson, Senator Schallenbarger's new legislator training. And if anyone is interested in this, we are all welcome also to come if we're free at 7:30 in the morning. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further announcements? Seeing none, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Sedgwick, Senator Blasey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow, the Senate will not be on general orders, so there'll be no caucus today. And with that, I move the Senate adjourn until 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 13th, 2025.
For the motion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We're adjourned.